So I saw a video I wanted to react to, and it is DJ Mines over on YouTube did a video saying my 100K crypto nightmare buying 20 Alephium miners. So we watched spilled my drink. We watched Red Panda Mining losing money on Kaspa, so I figure we'll go ahead and see how much money DJ Mines is losing over on YouTube on Alephium now. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
What is going on, everybody? DJ Mines here. Boy, oh boy, what happened to that bull run, man? Today we're talking about our biggest loss in crypto mining history for us on the channel. But to be fair, you know, we'll get into it a little bit more. I don't know if it's going to be a loss, but at the moment, if you're living at like right now, this is today's profitability. If you're that kind of person, certainly this is a huge L. We're talking about Alephium.
Yes, how do you guys feel about that? So obviously Red Panda Mining, probably the most popular cryptocurrency mining YouTuber out, right? I mean, you could say Voscoin. I think objectively, I guess Voscoin is. I question sometimes. I'm trying to think, but let's just say Red Panda Mining for GPU mining. Let's say that, okay? Because obviously Voscoin went off on the ASIC route, a lot of Bitcoin mining, that sort of thing. So let's say GPU mining, most famous crypto YouTuber for GPU mining is Red Panda Mining, okay? And his claim to fame has been the mine and hold strategy, which is quite a bit different than what I do, right? Like I primarily mine and sell, and I think a miner's position in the market is to provide liquidity to the traders. I think that's our job, and remaining profitable in that and generating revenue is the unique job of being a miner. But a lot of people follow, obviously, Red Panda Mining's method. People are continuing to mine and hold. I don't know how you do that unless you're getting miners for free and getting hosting for free and all that sort of stuff. I don't know how you justify that, because I just don't think it's practical. You'll end up running out of money. That's like, I think in a realistic scenario, it's not possible financially without external forms of revenue, right? And then at that point, it's like, okay, well, why don't you double down on those other forms of revenue? Now, in the case of having a YouTube channel that's based off of mining, then of course, that's how those two are interacting together. But do you think a majority of like GPU miners are of the mindset still of mining and holding? And if so, do you think that that is going to pay off again, or because of the trend of the markets, is that going to go away? Right? I'm kind of curious. I feel like it's not practical. I don't think it's a good business strategy, because I think cash flow is king. That's my opinion. I think cash flow matters more than anything else in business. And so I think the idea of mining and holding is just a bad one, unless you're utilizing those holdings to leverage loans or something like that to get more capital, which is thereby, of course, doing what? Creating cash flow.
20 AL3s in December. They showed up from Ice River about January. And well, let's just get into it, man. It's if you just remember one more thing, though. If you're ever feeling depressed, if you're ever feeling sad, you think you got money problems, just remember there's one sucker named DJ Mines and about 20 of these machines. Okay, let's get straight into it, guys. So the last 1 year, Alephium is down 87% in the last month. Here, 27%.
Your take was that Alephium was going to go bad no matter what. I mean, I interviewed the Alephium dev. It's pretty, to me, it's pretty simple to look and say, as soon as ASICs are out, stop playing the game. because as much as people don't want to admit it, ASIC mining or crypto mining in general is a PvP server, right? It's a PvP game. You are in competition with everyone surrounding you. And who's going to win that competition? There's two people that can win. They have a competitive advantage over you that is astronomical. It's the developer of the coin, and it is the manufacturer of the miners. You can find other competitive advantages like being a crypto mining host or being, having free energy, these types of things. But by and large, that is not the position a majority of my viewers are in. So to pretend that is not the case, I think can lead people astray. So as soon as I see ASICs on a network, I'm out. I am so out, it's not even funny, right? And I will still live by that strategy, right? Because that's the only thing, that's the only practical way to look at it. This is a PvP game, and there are competitive advantages that you just aren't realistically going to be able to compete with.
And when I purchased this ASIC, things were decent. They weren't incredible by any means, but they were certainly not where they are now with Alephium, man. Let me know what you think about Alephium. Certainly, I want to say I'm bullish on it. I mean, I kind of got to be at this point. I was really bullish. And again, we'll talk about that all in a minute. But yeah, I purchased this quite some time ago. So yeah, around December, it was like $1.60, $1.70. Things were getting really good. We saw Alephium hit over $2 once again, and its all-time high was close to $4, if not $4. I think it was about there. Yeah, it was pretty close to $4. So certainly at the time it was really good. But yeah, like I said, we'll get into that in a minute. Bitcoin is at 83,000, and I certainly think what's going on in the world is hurting Alephium, and not just hurting Alephium, and this is one of the reasons where I'm like, okay, yes, this is not a good situation that I'm in. However, everybody's not in a good position. Doesn't matter if that's Kaspa. It doesn't matter if it's your favorite altcoin or your favorite meme coin or if it's Bitcoin. Like, really, everything is hurting.
Yeah, but take Bitcoin and compare it to Alephium, and it's just not the same, right? And I think this is the reality that people are ignoring. And I think, if you are ignoring the reality that Bitcoin actually did hit an all-time high while other proof-of-work cryptocurrencies did not, you're doing yourself a disservice. You got to stop lying about the fact to yourself, because what that is an indicator of is that these other cryptocurrencies are never going to hit all-time high again. I'm sorry, John. Go ahead and try to sub. I showed you guys. I made the changes I could.
And certainly it's gotten a lot worse
Maybe
ever
we can
since Bitcoin and these tariff things have happened and all this other stuff has been going on in the world. So I can't just blame
Twitch
Alephium
Turbo
and say Alephium
took
is
care
a
of
huge
it,
failure.
Sirwin?
Certainly
Okay.
because we're only in March 17th. And it's only been a few months since I've even had these things running. So we'll find out. Again, we'll talk about that a little bit more. Looking at Ethereum, man. If Ethereum's not doing well, I don't think altcoins are really going to do well. And again, that kind of happens
So
because
far.
Bitcoin not
let me
doing well,
know.
and there's so much uncertainty in the market. And
I even delayed ads 30 minutes. So I don't even know why you got an ad either, John. I don't know.
It's hard to say, but to show you our 20 miners on right now, you know what? You want to throw me some hash rate? Go ahead. I'm just kidding. You're going to be losing your ass just like I am. Yeah, right now we're currently getting 281 terahash, though our average is 288. And sometimes I'm at 299. I can see a little bump here. This happens with these machines. Overall, we're about 293, I would say, consistently. But yeah, I guess they shut off real quick or got reset or whatever it is. And yeah, it's not looking good at all. So as far as payouts, man, let's just get straight to the good stuff. Total I've been paid is 15,000 Alephium 132, and that's worth only 5,443.
There we go. Now I can read
We'll
it.
talk about the numbers a little bit more. Just keep in, we've made $5.4 thousand so far in the last 7 days, 1,000 826
So
Alephium. I'd love to know how much you guys are making on your AL3s or your little small
20,000 a
boxers,
month
or,
in revenue.
whatever you're using to mine Alephium or whatever. Just let me know. And that's about $657 per day. In the last 1 month, we've made 7,396 Alephium, and that's worth only $2,660.
Oh wait,
now,
I'm
something
reading
really
that wrong.
good that's been.
This is total. Oh wow. So 2,600 in revenue for a whole month.
Happening. That's really why I like this machine at the moment. My yield has been consistently going up. We're up to 272 Alephium just 2 days ago, 266. I'm sorry, yesterday was 259. You can see 257, 267. Now keep in mind, guys, when I first got this machine, I only got to enjoy it for like maybe 4 days.
Oh, is this
3
one
days
machine?
where it was over 250. And now consistently over the last probably month and a half, we've been over 250. So I know one of the biggest concerns for everybody was pretty much how is it going to yield? And is it going to be able to make money? Well, it's certainly not making money. We'll get into the numbers soon, but it's yielding really well, better than it ever has. And that's something that keeps me going.
Is that
that's
because
like,
the,
you know, if the
difficulty on the network is down? I wonder, is it on 2 miners at all or no? So the difficulty is decreasing. Since January, right? We've gone from 4 to 2.4. So not quite 50% cut, but almost a 50% cut in peak difficulty. The price of Alephium is following, or the hash rate's following the price on Alephium better than it is on Kaspa.
yield was shit, and then also the price was shit. There's really no hope at all. And sure, you're hitting the hopium mask to some extent with any type of altcoin. Certainly there's Bitcoin and then there's everything else. And this is certainly another level of everything else. But that definitely motivates me because I've actually been holding it all. I have not been selling. I'm not willing to sell. I'm pretty much...
See, I don't like... Here's the problem. Here's the problem with mining and holding. You're basically gambling. And I just don't condone gambling. And that's why I'm not a fan of mining and holding. You're essentially gambling. And I'm of the mindset that it needs to be a viable business.
You know, coming into it, I said, this is either going to make me probably like $300,000 profit, maybe at least $200,000 profit, or I'm going to lose it all. I knew that from pretty much the start of it. And that's the mentality I'm going to have, man. I'm not selling, you know, 15,000 worth of Alephium for $5,000. It's just not going to happen. That doesn't even cover, well, it actually does cover 1 month of electricity. But yeah, I'm paying all of this out of pocket. Again, we'll get into that in just a second. So what actually is an AL3 making? Well, I can tell you right now, it is zero. It is negative. And one of the best decisions I ever did was getting a cheap electric rate. This is not a sponsored. I have no association with BitCap, but I got in at 7.3 cents. Originally, I believe it was 7.5 cents or 7.4. I don't remember. But like I said, I brought in 20 machines. So we talked it down a little bit. I want to say every 10 cents or every 10 machines, I get like 0.1 off, which has actually been keeping me afloat. You know, if I was hosting at, let's see, right now, let's just talk about the numbers. Profit is $1.55 negative. So I don't know why it's green. Mining now, fix your website. But yeah, it's actually losing $1.55 per machine, right? So a month, that's $47.89. Or for an entire year, that'd be $582. And if this continued just for funsies, okay, I'm just going to throw it up there. 582 times 20, that'd be for the whole year. We would lose $11,000 in total. That's just from electricity. So that certainly doesn't feel good. But again, the only thing keeping me alive, you see at top left here, is that I'm paying 7.3 cents. Now, let me show you how important. This is why I always preach on my channel, guys. You got to get a cheap electric rate, man. You can hear the kumbaya and all the other stuff, but the electric rate is so important, man. If we look at 8 cents, okay, let's see if it updates instantly. It did not seem to update instantly. You know, we go from losing $583 a year to each machine to 800 just for going from 7.3 to 8. Let that sink into what I just said. Hundreds of dollars per machine, you know, times
economies
20
of
just from
scale.
7.3 to 8 cents. Okay, now you really want to bleed out your ass. Look at like 9 cents hosting. Every day I'd be losing $3.10.
Hey, economists.
$3.10 is a huge difference from $1.50. Isn't that crazy how that works out? Per month, that would be $90, guys. $90 I'd be losing, or $1,100 per year. Just to rewind and look again. So keep in mind, per machine would be $1,100 per machine. And at 7.3 cents, I'm only losing, I say only, now it just refreshed to $600. Okay. So if we look at something more aggressive, let's say 9.5 cents, man. Again, you got to get cheap hosting, man. I'm telling you, good quality places, but cheap. That'd be $1,300 at just 9.5 cents. And if somebody's at home out there mining, which I don't know why you'd be mining with this machine, to be honest with you, you know, at 10 cents, you'd be losing $4 a day. $4 per day, man. That's huge. Or $118 a month, $1,444 a year times however many machines. So, you know, I always see people think in their mind, maybe on like a really small scale, it's not that bad. You know, you have one machine, it's still pretty bad actually. You're losing literally hundreds and hundreds of dollars per machine. But like 1 or 2, I guess you could say, hey, you know, I'm willing to pay 8 or 9 or even 10 cents or whatever you're paying. I guess I could see that. But I'm telling you, when you start scaling up, like I really went balls deep with this one, buying 20 machines. I mean, we're talking the difference of 7.3 cents to like 9, 9.5, 7, 8, $10,000. That's a lot for 20 machines. And obviously, if you had 40 machines, 60 machines, 80 machines, I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars. It's just to go to nothing, just to go to electricity. It's not like you're yielding more or less. There's really no benefit, right? It really is something you have to be smart about, guys, is like leveraging that power, because at the end of the day, your power rate is everything when it comes, especially to hosting, man, or especially to ASICs, right? GPUs. I mean, yeah, of course it matters a lot. It definitely does, right? But you can get away with like a single rig at like 12 cents, 13 cents. It's not the end of the world, man. But when it comes to the ASIC game, and you got to consider this as well, guys, these are 3,500 watts, not 3,100, 3,200. So your bill's going to be a lot more. These guys got to charge you 3,500 because that's what they're paying for. Totally understandable. But I'm telling you, man, the only thing keeping me, I'm not alive because I'm certainly losing $1.50 or dollar, whatever the heck it was, right? But yeah. Let's talk about the hash rate here, man. So this was certainly like one of the biggest concerns for me. And I think for most people, you know, how bad would the hash rate get? And this is, again, where I'm yielding a whole bunch. So I got this machine in December, you know, it was like 25 petahash, 26 petahash. They started shipping out, you know.
So my question, I guess, would be like, if he was selling this off all the way through January, like how much of a better position would he be in? I assume pretty good because it hit $2 in January, right?
One point, let's see, we're at the 52, 53 petahash. And now we're in March and we're back down to 38, which has been awesome. So again, you know, if you're a short-term investor or miner or however you like to think, I respect a lot of people that do that, like Son of a Tech. You know, there's a lot of people who live off of this stuff or, you know, really need to cover it and kind of see it more as like a job, which I understand.
Thanks for the shout out, brother.
Business. You can't be losing like I am. You can't be paying out of pocket. I don't treat this as a business necessarily because it's not my full-time job, you know, by any means. Like crypto mining is by no way my full-time job. It's something I do like a side hustle on
yeah, but I just like, so here's my problem with that. Like mining's not my full-time job either. I'm a systems engineer, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be like, okay, that's fine if I lose money on my side hustle. Like if I'm losing money on my side hustle, what the hell is the point of my side hustle? I don't know.
the side, you know, that's just what I do it for. But yeah, I could certainly see if you were doing this as a business, you could not survive this, right? So again, just to look at this hash rate, man, this is what you want to see. If you're someone like me, if you're someone like Red Panda, I not saying this is good advice, and I do not think everybody should do this, but I like to buy and hold the coin or mine and hold. Again, this could be a lot of hopium, right? Probably not the best strategy for most people. And frankly, most people probably don't have the money sitting on the sidelines, but we'll talk about that in a moment. But again, about 38 petahash, and it was just 26 when it came out. So yes, I'm yielding so much more than I ever was, and it's been really good, and more people are turning off. I love to see that right here. Just let's see, today technically, I guess 5% of the network went down. Wow, that's really great for me, right? And then about stayed even for the last couple of days, added 3%, losing 2, losing 3, losing. So people are certainly turning off. Fun fact, Red Panda Mining did the math. I'm a little bit less than 1% of the entire Alephium network. Kind of crazy to think about. And yeah, I'm still holding for now. And yeah, certainly if we go up, and I'm not selling at 30 something cents. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen, man. I'd rather, you know, I'd rather just keep paying out of pocket, which I don't want to do for the record, but certainly at some point I have to sell, but not for 30 cents. It's
how
absurd.
much,
let's talk about
how much of Alephium is in the market now? Like Alephium has a better option or a better chance because of its emission than Kaspa to be controlled by the mining, right? So it's fully diluted is 341 million with only 500,000. Okay. So this is good news from a mining perspective, right? There's really a ton of emissions still left, which means miners will still influence the price theoretically. So mining and holding this is in theory better than mining and holding Kaspa. Yeah.
The price of these machines. Looking at Crypto Miner Bros. Again, none of these videos are sponsored. I do have links, code DJ Mines you could use pretty much on any website. So if you're stupid enough to buy this machine, you could save like $100 or something. I don't know. Please don't buy this machine. This machine is terrible. But yeah, it's about $2,900 in stock. Yeah, those should be free, man. They should be paying us to take these things. Looking at Terra Hashes, a good friend of mine, Hawk, and all the boys over there. Looks like they're not selling these anymore, or they're just out of stock. I don't know. Maybe the price isn't updated. They were selling it for $37.50. So I certainly think, yeah, you should not be buying this machine at the moment. Or who knows, right, mate? I think this machine should be like $500 just for the gamble at this point. Now, I want to talk about why I got into this. Again, you know, for me, it was like a no-brainer. I think the Hobbyist Miner, I did a video with him. He really pointed this out for me. And he said, you know, when you made that decision, it was a really good decision. And I have to agree with him, because at the time, you know, the AL1 from Bitmain was going for $30,000. Who remembers that? $30,000. And I know Voscoin said he bought it. I extremely doubt he actually bought the machine. Maybe he did. I would imagine he got sent it, but let's just say he bought the machine for $30,000 out of pocket. Okay, damn, that hurts, right? So I wanted it. I've been a huge fan of Alephium. I'm still holding all the coins that I have from GPU mining, which is probably like 5,000 or so, which was awesome, right? And that really appreciated at one point some crazy amount of money. Certainly now it's not a lot of money, but my point is I definitely wanted to get involved with Alephium, and I bought the first batch of the AL3s, or maybe it was technically the second, I don't know, but it was super early, and yeah, I was really excited to get them. But I want to say it was the first batch of the AL3s, and I, you know, looking at $30,000, you're gonna feel like a fucking jackass. You think I feel stupid right now? Okay, imagine paying 30 grand and you would have bought 20 of these. You'll never ever get your money back, and you're still paying the power and all these things. So I saw that as the opportunity. I was like, wow, you know, now just at $3,000, this is like a massive discount. Like, oh, like not free, but like almost free in comparison to $30,000. So I did end up spending. I looked at, I have all the numbers. I'll show you. I want to say it was like $3,700 a machine or something like that. That was like the bulk price at the time or whatever it was. So yeah, for me, I was like, okay, these things are making $30 a day.
I don't know. I don't
just blindly say, oh wow, I'm going to make $30 a day. I was like, no, I'm going to make $10 a day, $15 a day. And so then that's what I did. I did the math there. And yeah, if we look on the right side of my screen here, let me just kind of move this over for you, and I'll even blow it up for you. There you go. So at the time, these were the numbers I did. And yeah, like I said, it was making about $30 a day. So yeah, all the machines would have been making $600 a day. That's $18,000 profit, or $216,000. Yeah, excuse me, I'm sorry. The gain was $92,000 profit, the right column
if
here.
you sell,
and then for $20 a day, which I was like, okay, that seems fairly realistic. That was about $20,000 profit. $15 a day, I'd be losing about
sold your alpha a year ago,
$16,000 for the entire year. I didn't think in a million years, I'm gonna be honest with you, that I'd ever have to go below $5 a day. I was like, oh, this is definitely not gonna happen. No way. Well, look at us now. We're negative something, right? I was like, okay, I'm gonna lose $25,000. Okay, so yeah. So far, again, I'm not selling. So far, it's not looking good. But let's talk about some of the math that I actually did here. The only ones that really matter right now are honestly like the yellow. The blue up here is just how much I had to pay to host, and like I had to pay 3 months of power up front. In total, for 12 months, my power will cost me $44,764.80. So one machine, again, that's 3,500 watts, is about $186 or $37.30 a month. So that's what I pay out of pocket every single month, is $3,730.40. But we'll just call it $3,700 to make it easier. Now the actual machines, oh, I'm sorry, I paid $34.30. I forgot. I paid $34.30 plus $230, which is shipping, plus $50. So yeah, you can just call it like $37.10. That's actually what I have all in, $37.10. And so in total, just in machines, that cost me $74,200. So you can do the math here. $44,000 for 12 months of power, plus $74,000 and 200, $74,200 is in total of $123,000. Kind of crazy to think about. $123,000 is what I'm into it for. And yes, it is a little bit concerning. I'm not gonna lie, it is a little bit concerning.
I am now, of the mindset, Scott, and everybody knows this because I sold my Kaspa, but like I'm of the mindset that it's better to sell early than never sell at all, or sell late.
One of those months I can either use as the deposit, because it is technically a deposit. I had to pay 3 months up front, which is paying month 1, month 12, and a deposit, which I can apply for an additional month, or I could just get my money back. So yeah, you could say 123,000 minus 37 or 3,300, whatever the heck I said it was. Yeah, 3,700. I could get that back. So that doesn't help too much, but it put us at like 119,000 all in, something around there. Bottom line, how does it feel? I'm not gonna lie to you. It doesn't feel good, but what really gives me that reminder of like, why am I doing this? You know, did I come into it saying I'm gonna make a bunch of money up front? No, my plan was always to sell 6 months in. But the most important thing, and I hope you guys can learn something from this. I don't want to call it mistake, because it's literally only been 2.5 months. The machine's probably only been running 2 months, right? Didn't get it to like middle of January, so it's been like 2 months. I can't call it.
Oh, I thought he said he bought it last year. It was, so he bought these in January, like at the peak. I mean, this is exactly what you don't want to do. Like, I don't know how. I mean, obviously, we're all going to rationalize things, but like looking at this from an outsider's perspective, I don't know how you could justify this as not being a mistake in any way.
Could see this being a massive failure, like certainly the biggest one I've ever taken in the crypto mining world. But you know, we have to find out. I have to see. I won't call this a failure until I find out what happens with altcoin season, if there's going to be an altcoin season. When, if, and
I don't think there's going to be for proof of work cryptocurrencies, because we didn't get all-time highs. I don't know.
When, you know, Ethereum actually does something, if Ethereum goes to 3,000, 3,500, 4,000, you know, we start seeing Bitcoin.
Now, Ethereum should have already gone to like $6,000 by now once.
110, 120, $140,000. And then at that point, if we don't see any price appreciation for Alephium, yes, I would say this is a huge L. And I know a lot of people look at the day-to-day. I see things a little different, right? Because this is my third cycle. Second, really as a miner, I did try it on that third cycle as a miner, but like second, taking it actually seriously and everything. So I've been through this, man, way even before crypto and the stock world. I've been up and downs and everything. That doesn't mean it's going to work out for Alephium. All I'm saying is I've been through these kind of situations before, certainly not to this scale, and definitely not with like some random ASIC, especially an algorithm like Alephium. So it certainly does bother me. Who likes to pay $3,700 a month, you know, in electricity? Nobody likes doing that, but I'm okay in the sense, like, you don't have to worry about me, like this isn't going to end my life or something crazy like that, dramatic. Like I said, my plan moving into it, I already had the 3 months paid. And then also I kept about another 3 months on the sideline in cash, just in case something went bad. And guess what? Things are going bad. So yeah, certainly I'm digging into that a little bit, which isn't fun at all. If it ever comes down to it, yes, I can pay all 12 months out of pocket. Don't worry, guys. I do really well in the stock world and with other investments of mine. So yes, 123, 124K will suck. I'm not going to lie. It's definitely going to not be a good feeling, but it's not like I'm going to, you know, not be able to pay my house off or something dramatic like that. I took a really big risk relative to your net worth, right? So like if you're a little Timmy, you know, if you got like 10K to play with, 20K, maybe even 50K, this would probably be like life-changing, destroy your life. But then you also have to consider there's people who have 80 of these machines, 200 of these machines, maybe even 1,000.
But then like my question is, right, and maybe like obviously it's good for content, etc. But when you're making these decisions, like, and this is what I'm always worried about too, is like, obviously our decisions as content creators and influencers in the space are going to affect other people in the space. And I'm always worried that, you know, somebody's going to see it that is that guy. And yeah, you can't take on obviously the responsibility. Everybody needs to be accountable to themselves, but it still is like, I don't want to be in that position where I influence somebody to do something similar that puts them in a bad spot, right? You still don't want to be that.
I don't know, probably not thousands, but there's certainly people who are multimillionaires where they would look at this and be like, oh, 123K is nothing, right? So certainly for me, it hurts. It's definitely not nothing by any means. It's 123K, man. That's a lot of money, right? So
that's a ton of money.
Really am hoping at the point, which is hitting.
But I mean, like, to be honest, like, there are things that happen in people's lives that they lose that kind of money and they never did anything to lose that kind of money, right? Health is a big one, right?
We see some price appreciation, and I do think, I don't know if we're ever going to get back to $3-4, but I don't think there's any chance that Alephium stays at 35 cents, or who knows, right? The miners keep selling it and this thing pulls a cadena on us, and you know, altcoin season never happens and it ends up being a huge L. So I certainly hope that is not the case. Please, like I said, guys, if you made it to this part of the video, man, put in hashtag clock. Hashtag clock, CLOCK.
There you go.
Then I'll know you watched the entire video, man. Yeah, not looking good for Alephium. But again, I don't think that's just Alephium's fault. A majority of it is, but we'll find out what happens when things calm down with the tariffs. Calm down.
Well, I mean, the Bitcoin miners, honestly, John, they're still not making a ton of money, right? Like, there is always risk, but the goal is to mitigate those risks, right? And there are some risks, like it's all a percentage game. And I don't like, obviously the bigger the risk, the bigger the potential reward, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. But you don't want to be just throwing money around without looking at the potential, right? With something like Bitcoin, you have more historical data to judge off of, right? You have less impact on from buys and sells, and you have less impact from like massive fluctuations in hash rate, right? So you have all of those things that are a lot less volatile.
Crazy. Ethereum goes crazy, then we'll know. I love every single one of you. Bleeding out the asshole out here, boys. We're gonna.
But the thing is like Solana did significantly better than Ethereum, right? I don't know if Ethereum is the thing to look at for the altcoin market anymore.
I doubt, man.
What do you guys think?
In chat, man. We gonna need life support. Peace.
You got it, dude. But maybe just turn off if you need to. Turn off. Make sure you guys go hit the like. Tell them I sent you. I'll share this video out. And if you're watching the clip on YouTube later, it'll be down in the description below. I hope you enjoyed this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. If you would like to see more from this particular episode, take a look up here. Don't forget to also subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support me directly, you can go to sonofatech.locals.com and become a member. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday.